honestly, I did not choose the aesthetic chose me. Hey everyone, my name's Envy, and when I was reorganizing these shelves behind me, one of my friends wanted me to do rainbow shelves. She herself has this amazing rainbow shelf that I'm super jealous of, and because of that she told me, why don't you do the same? I really wanted to do the rainbow shelf, but looking at what I have, I noticed that most of my books look a bit like this. Very dark, lots of blacks, lots of grey, lots of muddled colors, kind of this old faded aesthetic. So with the majority of my books being dark, and most of the dark books being black, I couldn't help but wonder, could I even make one rainbow shelf? One tiny little baby rainbow? We're gonna find out today. So we're gonna do this vlog style, so I'm gonna stand up, and now you can see my legs. Awesome. Anyway, I have some shelf space here that we're gonna fill up with hopefully a rainbow. And we're gonna do this vlog style because I'm gonna be walking around. Not all my books are on these shelves. I have some under my desk, and I have a cabinet, sort of a cabinet, for my, what are they? It's basically a mix of everything I ever bought for university and some random books I bought in the past 2 years. So first up, we're gonna find a red book, and that is not difficult. I have options. One of them is Game of Thrones, but that's a huge book and I don't want to start off with a huge book. So we're gonna walk over to this little corner here behind my door, which is a mess. And there I have The Handmaid's Tale, which is not red on the front, but the spine is. I don't think this one needs any introduction, so we're gonna put this one on the rainbow shelf as a first. I'm going to stay in this corner because I forgot my other options for orange, but I was reminded that I do have a copy of Ready Player One, which is also a very hyped book, so I don't think that one will need any introduction. It's not my favorite book, and I'm pretty sure it's not the orange book I have, but it's the only one I can think of right now. And if I check my shelves, like, I don't want to put the Red Pyramid on there because it has this really weird demon thing on the spine, and I don't want a weird demon in my rainbow. That's just weird. So, orange is Ready Player One. You're on my desk chair right now because I need to dig a book up from under my desk. Because this is where I keep the books that I one day in my future apartment want to have on display on a shelf, but I don't have the space right now. Also, they're not YA fantasy, so they kind of break up the theme of my shelves. But I have this book. Can you see it? No, I'm gonna move into the light. Okay, that is a little bit better. I have a book which in Dutch is called Cuba Libre by Emily Barr. And apparently the original title was Cuban Heels, and that didn't translate well or something, I don't know. This book is about a woman who does not like her life, so she becomes obsessed with the life of her neighbors. And when they move to Cuba for the husband's job or something like that, it's been a while since I read the book, she follows them and she just goes crazy, and that's all I'm gonna say without spoiling too much. Front is not yellow, but the spine is, and that's what counts. So I am halfway through Rainbow already, and I did not think it would be this easy. Because none of the books... Okay, Handmaid's Tale is kind of grim, but yeah. I thought my taste was much less colorful. Where were we? Green. Okay, so 2 things. First of all, my giraffe picture keeps falling down and I don't know what to do about it. Second, if you're gonna do anything like this, just make sure that your shelves aren't double stacked like mine, because now it's gonna be a real pain to reach the green book that is greenest of them all, because it's behind here somewhere and I've got to find it. Oh, that's actually much easier than I had anticipated. Because it's right here. Oh, but I put too many books on that shelf. We're gonna put The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes to the side because that's not a good book. And then, oh, this frame is useless. Okay, while I'm sitting on the floor, I'm gonna introduce you to the last book in the Chemical Garden trilogy. This was a YA Dystopian. Oh, and the spine is broken. I did not do that. Someone broke my book's spine. Anyway, this was about a dystopian future in which the Earth is plagued by a virus. Yay! Exactly the kind of thing you want to read right now. Anyway, this virus is somehow like triggered the moment a woman turns 20 and a man turns 25. So everyone in this world is basically just trying to keep the human race alive and hope that someone finds a cure. So it's a really grim and bleak world in which girls are just sold off to keep the population going. And yeah, I think a lot of people slept on this trilogy when it first came out. I would recommend it, but don't go into it expecting a lot. So my green book, found it. It's actually starting to look more or less rainbowish. So next up is blue. And first I wanted to pick Wayward Son, but then I thought, no, we're not gonna go that heavy on the Carry On stuff already because, well, we'll get to it. But which other books do I have that are blue? I have one that's bluer than Wayward Son. And that is Second Chance Summer by Morgan Matson. I'm gonna put it up there already because my arm is getting tired of everything. It has been probably 6 to 7 years since I read Second Chance Summer. Never been able to get into it a second time. I remember that it's more about family and spending time in a place where you grew up and made your best childhood memories, so I like that. It's an enjoyable summer read if you're into YA contemporary, but nothing that will blow your socks off. The best thing about it, for me, at this moment, is that it is very, very blue. We're skipping indigo because I really don't know what the deal is with indigo. It just confuses me. So we're moving on to purple, and now we're getting into the Carry On stuff again, because this is quite easily the most purple book I have. For those who don't know it, it's been described on Instagram as Harry Potter but gay and significantly less turf. I'm doing an awful job at selling Carry On, and one day I will give you a better synopsis or description, but today is not that day because today the most important thing is that it's purple and it can fit into my rainbow. The good news is that I can do it. I can make a rainbow shelf. The bad news is that this is the most sad little rainbow I've ever seen. It's literally just 6 books, and like, even though I've completed the challenge, even though I did what I set out to do, I am not happy with this. This is just not good enough. I know I should be able to do better. So I'm gonna try to find at least one other book of each color and hopefully make a slightly better rainbow because this is just sad. I just now noticed that Carry On does not show up as purple on my camera, but the one friend who told me that I should make a rainbow told me that it was a very purple book. So I'm counting this as purple. It looks purple when I look at it with my eyes, just not when I look at it through a lens. So I'm gonna say my eyes are what counts and the lens is just for documenting my failures. But that's not all we're gonna do here. I'm gonna find another red book. I had one in mind, but now I don't know which one anymore. I spent the last half hour just staring at my shelves and thinking, where are my red books? Because I do have this book, but this is hardcover, and also this doesn't really show up well on camera, but it's not one color red, and there are a lot of like darker areas in it, and I just like my things to be one color and like intense. The alternative I came up with wasn't that great either, but the advantage of this one was that it is a paperback, and everything I have so far is paperback, so I tried to go with that theme. So I have this book, which is called Furie in Dutch, Fury in English. The original title was Malice, which is something else entirely. But this is a YA mix of graphic novel and regular novel. It's about kids who get stuck in an alternative universe, I believe, or alternative world dimension. and they have to escape. I do not have any of the sequels, and I tried my best to get my hands on them, but I think they're out of print by now. I love this, and I should reread it because I don't remember too much about it, except that I loved it. Also, the art was nice. Then, for Orange. Orange was easy. This is the most orange book I have. This is even more orange than Ready Player One because all sides of it are orange. This was originally a Spanish book about witches, and the mythology says that originally there was one witch and her two daughters were both witches. They got into a fight, and this resulted in two clans of witches battling it out throughout centuries. And of course there's a chosen one, a better chosen one than Simon Snow, because he's the worst one ever. Sorry. I cannot keep Carry On off my mind. Chosen One narrative. Nice one. Early 2000s. No idea if this is available in English, but I liked it when I was 10. And then yellow was another problem because the most yellow spine I have after the one I showed you is Get Started in Hindi. I don't want this book on my rainbow shelf because, well, it's full of post-its of stuff that I need to look at again. And also this book makes me cry at least once a week, so I do not want this on my shelf. The alternative was by Salman Rushdie. And this is Haroun and the Sea of Stories, which I had to read for a university class in South Asian literature. It's basically a fairy tale which mixes elements of South Asian fairy tales, European fairy tales, and Middle Eastern fairy tales. It brings it all together. In this book, I read it in maybe 2 hours and I loved it. I wrote a whole essay about it. It's a fun read. With green, I caved and just picked up Smaragdgrün, which is the third one in, what was it called in English? Something like the Precious Stones trilogy. I'll look it up. I have the original texts, and this is the third book in the trilogy. I have to reread the first one before I get down to this one, so I can't say much about it. I call this book Vampires on a Boat. I read it years ago and I loved it because it had vampires and they were on a boat. And then I made my dad read it, and all he remembers is there were vampires on a boat. So maybe that's just like a family thing. It's in our DNA that we don't remember what vampire books are actually about. But I'm going to reread this because I loved it the first time. I'm sure I'll love it again and appreciate the vampires more. But for now it's important that it's blue. And finally, purple is a problem because it shows up so weird on camera. And I'm also not sure if this one counts as purple, but I have The X Factor by Colin Cotterill. This is the third book in what she called Gier. I probably mispronounced that name. This is a series of mystery books, kind of thriller-like, and they're set in Thailand. So if you want to do one of those read around the world challenges and you're into a bit of mystery and murder, this is one for you. I am usually not a fan of murder mysteries, but these books are so much fun. The humor is great, and basically I wanted to go to Thailand right after I finished reading these books. So that's 6 more books with bright colors. What I have left on my shelves now is mostly just dull. We're gonna put those up and see if my rainbow looks any better. I managed to make a rainbow shelf! Honestly, I've been thinking about this plan for a while, and I knew I would be able to pick 6 books with colors on them. But 12 is better than I expected, and I think I could even expand on it, maybe even find a place for Fangirl. But for now, I'm just happy that my soul is not as dark as I made it out to be, and that my taste in books is not as monotone as I thought it was. I mean, you can judge a book by its cover, but I think it says a lot about me that most of my books have the darkest covers you can imagine. So I'm super happy that I'm actually able to pull this off. I feel like I've jumped through one of the hoops you have to jump through when you want to be a booktuber, because I have a rainbow. honestly, I just want to say thank you to my friend Ella, who kind of challenged me to think outside of my usual black box, who said I should do this. I hope she's very happy with this video because my room is a mess and now I have to clean everything up just because I had to find 12 books with rainbow colors. So I hope you're happy. And I hope everyone else who made it this far into the video like this video too, and you know what you gotta do when you like a video, right? My books keep falling over. So I'm gonna go do this intro really quick and find something to put here so they don't keep falling over. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I probably already said that, so goodbye, whatever.